I contributed with several photos and a sound recording as sources of inspiration to the Material Matters library. The first photo shows a visual poetry object I created specifically for the Imago Mundi art collection of Luciano Benetton in 2014, published next year in the Visual Poetry in Europe art book. This is the object I used later on as a score for the sound performance recorded in a studio. My second photo shows the sound recording and abstract score notation. The third photo shows an embroidered version of this abstract score. The last photo shows the back side of the same embroidery object. The material of my work is basically transition. Just think of the three main questions of an education program. What shifts? What drifts? What remains? How I created this object. I got from Imago Mundi an empty canvas, an empty space. I tried to fill up the given space with time, combining space and time into a single binary continuum of zeros and ones that can be interpreted as a continuum of female and male principles. This ordered continuum is then disturbed by the emergence of a completely alien decimal number, the number 6, which doesn't belong to the binary system. Being a newcomer, a migrant in the digital world, its presence starts to distort the visual elements of the structure, distorting the sound and distorting the space-time. The number 666 is the number of the beast or apocalypse according to the Bible. This devilish number shows up as a virus and raises the question of destructibility of time itself. The safety pin in the middle of the object can be interpreted as a life belt of the future. Man and woman fusing into one. This is a shift and drift inside the internal narrative of the visual poetry object. But there is a transition from the visual object to the sound performance as well. Now I tried something unusual. I reverse engineered the sound recording. I took a piece of paper and mapped the sound pattern with all its distortions to a score reproduction captured on my second photo. This is a new form of transition from the sound back to the visual. Then I have embroidered the score notation, using it as a pattern, to a palm-size embroidered handkerchief, and took a photo of it when it was finished. This is the last transition from the rough sketch to embroidery. Finally, I inverted the embroidery object from the right side to the wrong side, from the front to the reverse. I was always intrigued by what lies behind the world of objects and phenomena. Take a look for instance at Lewis Carroll's Tale Through the Looking Glass, where Alice sees the world from the other side of a mirror. I am also interested in the reverse of objects. With embroidery, I want to explore the mystery of the thread. How are the patterns formed? The beauty appears on the surface, but the joy of creation takes place on the reverse. On the underside, the artist dwells in the chaos of subconscious and intuition during the creative process. His rational mind gives form to this later. It would be nice to use the reverse side of the embroidery object as a score for a new sound performance. During this long process of shifts and drifts, I myself went through creative transitions. It would be interesting to discover what kind of changes I would experience during the future steps in this process, which never ends in the lifetime of an artist. I selected these objects and these transitions because they connect directly to my Documenta 14 project in Kassel, where I am exhibiting 12 collage score/visual poetry pieces together with the sound enactments, sound recordings interpreting the scores. To Athens, I have brought a set of found objects that serve as scores for sound performances. The connection between visual object and sound is the very essence of the relationship between my poetry and my extended poetry.
Oh. 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 Oh.